Happy Wednesday. We're going to be hopping into the John Deere Classic. Talk about my picks to win, picks to place. But before we do, like we do in every video, just need to stress the importance of line shopping. You'll never win in golf betting if you take the worst of the number. Long term, it's super important. Case in point this week, it's drastic. On DraftKings, arguably the most popular and one of the squarest domestic books, Adam Hadwin, my personal favorite to win this week, 10 to 1. On Bet Online, one of the sharpest offshores, he's 20 to 1. Twice the odds. Obviously, if you have access to both books and you make the bet on DraftKings, it's a horrendous bet. Don't make that mistake. Line shopping, super important. So I do all that for you. You can come check it out. I'll always tell you the best book to bet, the outrights, the derivatives, the matchups, what have you. But anyway, let's get into this card. Now, obviously, this is one of the worst fields in a long time. Only two of the top 75 in Hadwin and Simpson are even in this field. So, it's a very weak field. It's the weakest since the Mexican Open. To put things in perspective, Hadwin was 101 or 100 to 1 2 weeks ago at the U.S. Open. Now he's, the prohibitive favorite in some books. So that just tells you all you have to know. But hopping into the model, you can see that actually Hadwin is the model's top choice by a significant margin this week. So really like Hadwin. Here are the categories that we're focusing on this week: fairways gained, strokes gained on the approach, greens and regulation, birdie or better percentage, bogey avoidance, par 4 scoring average, par 5 scoring average, and then putting from 5 to 10 and 10 to 15. These are typically the categories that we weight based on these sort of courses that are going to be birdie fests. So Hadwin is just the aggregate. He's the top by far. Surprisingly, Hubbard's second, which really surprised me. And then Webb, who's there at the top of the odds board. Howell, Duncan, Lashley, Hugh, Martin Lard, Matt McNeely, Vaughn Taylor, Lucas Glover, who is the defending champion. So, that's the top 20. Again, this is a starting point. This isn't gospel by any means. But, Hadwin being the favorite, I do think is justified. The model agrees. I apologize for my lack of energy tonight. I'm really not feeling too great, but we're going to make this video pretty quick. So, let's quick go through the outrights, the derivatives, and then touch on a few specific outrights and why I like them, and then we'll call it a wrap. This really is not a great tournament. I wouldn't go nuts betting this. Yes, we've had tremendous success, but, one of our biggest losing tournaments, actually the biggest losing tournament, not that it was awful by any means, lost like 4 units, was the Mexican Open, and it was a similar trash field. So, it's just high variance, or at least it opens the door for that. So, my advice would be, maybe risk half of the stake or whatever you're comfortable with, but definitely do not go nuts here. There's some value here, but in these birdie fests especially, anything can happen. No lead safe. So without further ado, the outrights: Hadwin 20 to 1, Howell 29 to 1, McNeely 30 to 1, Todd 40 to 1, Stevenson 65 to 1, Laird 70 to 1, and Hubbard 80 to 1. And again, Laird's another big example. Like, he's 55 to 1 on Bet Online, he's 70 to 1 on DraftKings. So, it's not always like DraftKings always has the worst odds or Bet Online is the best odds. It just depends. So, line shopping is huge. Derivatives. So for those who are new to the channel or just watching this for the first time, our strategy is sort of identify the best value on the outrights, and then we build a derivative portfolio around that. So, the guys we really like, we'll play them top 10. second tier guys, top 20s, and then, fringe guys who we probably don't have outrights on, but, we think there's good opportunity and good line value. We may play them top 40. Um, it all depends on the tournament and the odds and, things like that. But, this tournament, there actually is some value in top 40s. We haven't had them for the past few weeks in smaller fields and more competitive tournaments. All right, but top tens, Hadwin plus 260, McNeely plus 350, Todd plus 400. Top 20s, Hubbard plus 300, Howell plus 170, Laird plus 300. Then top 40s, Duncan plus 140, Lashley plus 130, and Armour plus 130. And if you look back at the model, you'll see, all these guys were actually within the top 20 in the model. And again, not saying that, the models of fortune teller or can tell the future or anything like that, obviously. But, a lot of the success that we've been having has been based on this exact model. So, I do like these guys' chances for success at this tournament. Okay, just going to touch on four guys, why we like them specifically, and then going to end this video. So, we already touched on them. Hadwin, really like him a lot. I mean, again, admittedly, these are like really low odds for Hadwin, who was 100 to 1 2 weeks ago at the US Open, but, he is the model's favorite for a reason. He's in the top 10 of all the key metrics, fifth in strokes gained on the approach, and third in birdies gained or better, which is obviously huge this week in what's going to be a birdie fest. Last year minus 21, and it's probably gonna have to. The winner's gonna have to probably get to minus 20 again this year. Hadwin's been hot. He has 5 top 10 finishes this season, including a tie for 7th in his last tournament out at the U.S. Open. And don't forget, he was the first round leader there. So this course really does fit his game, and it's a great chance for him to get his first win this year. He's been close, and against this field, this is his best chance. So he's my favorite by far. Next guy we'll get into is Brendan Todd. This is one ugly motherfucker. We call him Brendan Toad because he looks like a fucking toad. But anyways, he's a guy who similar to like the Charles Howell. He isn't long off the tee, but he's really accurate. His putter's deadly when he gets hot. A similar course in the fact that it requires accurate driving was St. George's at the Canadian Open. He excelled there, finishing tied for 13th. Last week he did miss the cut, but I actually like backing golfers, off a missed cut in a tournament, especially where they were supposed to have success because A, they're rested, and B, it helps them focus, and C, it gives us a better number. I mean, Todd at 40 to 1 on Bet Online is a great number. Todd's number 1 in the field in fairways gained, 4th in strokes gained on par 5s, which is important because there are going to be eagleable par 5s here. Essentially, this dude's super accurate, excellent putter. That's your recipe for success at any course, especially TPC Deere Run. That is going to just be birdie central, and it's no surprise he finished 18th here last year. So in a watered down field, really good chance to have more success again this year. McNeely, this is a guy who has been up and down this year, but when he's on, he's really on. And in an event that is going to be a birdie fest, getting the player who's number 1 in birdies gained or better in the field is always going to be a play for me. He really does have the ability to go low when his putter gets hot. I like him to be the first round leader too. His best putting surface is bent grass, which is what they're going to have here in Illinois. And he already does have 6 top 25s this season, and his course is well suited for this course. Top 20 in all the key metrics, first in birdies or better, like I said, and first in strokes gained on par 5s. So as long as his putter doesn't betray him, really like his chances this week. And one final one, Martin Laird. I mean, this guy is every week there's at least one golfer in our outright portfolio, especially in fields like this, where it's like you couldn't name this guy if he was sitting next to you on a plane. Like Martin Laird, like the dude looks just like someone's grandfather or some shit. But he's the best ball striker in this field over the past 24 rounds. Number one in total strokes gained, which really surprised him. But it really shouldn't be because he is excellent, accurate driver, and his approach game has been dialed. The reason why he hasn't been winning and why he's 70-1 is because his putter is horrendous. But he finished T13 last week at the Travelers, only one stroke outside the top 10, and that was losing 3 strokes of the field putting. So his irons are that dialed. So if his putter can even perform to a average to the field pace, he's a great chance here. And at 70-1, and again I keep saying it, but in this very weak field, um, you know he should be in contention. And his top 20s, plus 300, really like that as well. So those are our plays for this week. Like I said, riding high coming in this week off a win with Sander, winning last week at the Travelers. But this is a tournament where it's hit or miss. But I feel like we're as always putting our best foot forward, and we'll let the chips fall where they may. Good luck, guys, and I'll be making a video over the next few days when I'm feeling a little bit better to cover the UFC this weekend. Absolutely loaded card. Already have a few bets loaded into the account and looking forward to sharing those. All right, guys, take it easy.